Hi, my name is Sharice Creighton. For my key topic presentation, I'll be discussing Robert Sternberg's triangular theory of love. This is in chapter 5. I found this theory to be very intriguing because, love is like one of those topics that everyone kind of wants to like understand or at least experience for themselves. So I thought it would be really cool to do some research on this topic in specific. So let's start with like a little background on who Robert Sternberg was. He was born in New Jersey on December 9th, 1949. He graduated from Yale with his bachelor's in psychology, and he also earned his PhD from Stanford. He currently is a professor of human development at Cornell University. When I was doing my research about him, I found an interesting fact about him that he actually struggled a lot with his intro to psychology class. And his professor advised him to actually change his major. But he didn't. He actually continued to pursue his psych degree because I watched a short clip where he was giving a presentation and he said that he likes to study things that he's not good at. So he's known for his research on intelligence, love, of course, cognitive styles, and creativity. One of the theories that Sternberg developed, like I said before, was the triangle theory of love, and this I think he developed like back in the late 1980s. This theory attempts to explain what is present in love, like how love can be defined, and how feelings of love may change or evolve over time. Ultimately, we all feel love differently, but the theory in specific, I feel like helps to narrow down the ways in which like we approach and identify love for another person. This theory of love doesn't suggest that all love exists within a perfect like equal triangle. However, it does state that for there to be true love, there should be three components: passion, intimacy, and commitment. Um, if we're starting with commitment, excuse me, and intimacy, intimacy doesn't necessarily refer to the physical intimacy that most people just assume, or we think that we're talking about like physical, like sexual, like activity. This definition of intimacy is more about closeness. If you feel close, connected to like a friend or a family member or a partner, you experience intimacy with them. This is like a good warm feeling that a lot of us seek in and outside of romance. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a boyfriend or a husband. Now, passion is the aspect that refers to the physical closeness with another person. This this is kind of the drive that leads us to being physically attracted to somebody, and like want to engage in that sexual activity. But not all motivation, or I guess like arousal, can like has to be a part of sexual nature for two people to experience this passion together. And the last component is commitment or decision. um Basically, when you enter a relationship with somebody, you may decide that you love them. You may feel a commitment to stick by that person, through thick and thin, or marriage vows and sickness and in health, and continue the relationship long term. um Not all relationships have decision and commitment, but you may decide that you love somebody, but you're not committed to spending your whole life with loving them. You may decide you're just committed to having a relationship with somebody, but you don't necessarily have to actually love them. Um, as you see, as you will see, like as I further explain the different aspects of love that may appear or not appear in a loving relationship, because like each different various of combinations of these components creates a different type of love, if that makes sense. So there's actually 7 types of love. I know in our slides that the professor provided for us, I think the diagram showed only 4 types of love, but since I'm doing a presentation, I kind of wanted to go in depth of the different types of love that Sternberg had researched. So first, there's liking. Now, this type of love is only when intimacy is present. Intimacy is the main component that is present, and both passion and commitment are absent. So think of friendship type of love, like with your best friend, how you share intimate details with each other, but there's no sexual attraction or no long-term commitment to each other. Now, next would be companionate love. This type of love occurs when both intimacy and commitment are present, but passion is absent. This is stronger than friendship because there's a long-term commitment involved, but like minimal to no sexual desire. So think of some marriages where passion has died, but they still have a strong bond together. That bond can be children, like they share children together, they don't want to separate or divorce, they're committed to being together, because of their vows and stuff like that, but there's no real sexual desire between them anymore. Moving on to, sorry, I lost my place. Okay, moving on to empty love. Now, empty love is the type of love where just commitment is present. Intimacy and passion are both absent. Now, this tends to happen when someone is desperate for long-term commitment for like other reasons, like they really want to be married, they don't want to be alone, or they got pregnant, or financial stability, or even like arranged marriage. But it doesn't actually mean that they're connected with that significant other and they're like forcing the relationship to work because they're in a committed relationship, because they're committed to that person. So let me say that. Then there's fatuous love, and this is also known as foolish love, and this involves passion and commitment, but the intimacy is absent. Typically, this kind of looks like a brief passionate period of the new relationship energy, or how some people call it the honeymoon phase, um, um, where you're physically or sexually attracted and all lovey-dovey towards each other, and it's also followed by a serious commitment, like moving in together before you've actually gotten to know the other person, and like actually truly bond with them on like a non-passionate level. The next type of love is infatuation. This happens when passion is the only component present and there's no intimacy or no commitment. For instance, think of like puppy love or a crush. You're feeling mostly lust, really, and physical passion because you don't have a deeper sense of who that other person is. You don't really know them on that intimate level, and there is no commitment. Then there's romantic love. Romantic love carries like the presence of intimacy and passion. So commitment is not involved. This love bonds people emotionally and through physical passion. Like couples typically have like deep conversations to help them learn intimate details with each other. They also enjoy the sexual passion and affection together. And last but not least, you know, the love that everybody dreams of, well, at least I do, is the consummate love. This love contains all three components. So, intimacy, passion, and commitment. This kind of represents the ideal relationship, kind of like what we see in romantic movies and on social media as like the, you know, hashtag relationship goals. Um, Couples in this state of love have great sex. They, you know, can't imagine being with anybody else, can't see themselves truly being happy without that significant other, and they manage to overcome differences and face stressors together. So now on to the empirical study. I have, excuse me for a second. Okay, sorry. The empirical study I've chosen to discuss for this presentation is the effect of attachment and Sternberg's triangular theory of love on relationship satisfaction by Scott F. Matty and Lindsay Rogers. In this study, they investigated kind of the association between attachment and the three components of love. Now, when I say attachment, the two dimensions I think they used were not think that I read about, excuse me, secure, insecure, and close, independent attachment. These types of attachment patterns they tested, they wanted to find out if that attachment pattern directly predicts relationship satisfaction or is mediated by the variables of love, such as the intimacy, passion, and commitment, in which it predicts the satisfaction outcome, basically. So what they proposed was that secure attachment is associated with less anxiety in relationships, greater intimacy, trust, and like willingness really to discuss and resolve issues with a partner. And they believe that the insecure attachment is associated with the anxieties, whether a partner really loves or values them, worries about being abandoned, excuse me, and not being like accepted from that other person. This led to them predicting that a secure attachment pattern is associated with more intimacy, passion, and commitment, which is our three love components, and with greater relationship satisfaction. So if the couple has these three components, then their relationship satisfaction will be higher, basically. Now, close attachment represents the emotional closeness in a relationship and comfort with like being near their partner. As one moves more to the independent end of the continuum, more like detachment is associated with within the relationship, and is represented by feelings of like kind of not being wanted, or being like wanting to depend on others, basically being kind of reluctant to get close to other people, and feeling discomfort when being close to other people as well, like getting too close to people. This also led them to predict that close attachment is associated with more intimacy, passion, and commitment, um, and greater satisfaction in the relationship than the independent attachment pattern. So basically, if you have close attachment, then it's going to have your three components, and but if you're lacking close attachment and you have like the independent attachment, you'll most likely be lacking that greater satisfaction. So I'll briefly go through the materials, the like participants' material, procedures, and the findings. Um, let me change slides. Okay. There were 55 participants. They were university undergraduate students, and they all currently were in a romantic relationship to participate in the study. There were 15 males, 40 females. The average age was about 19.7 years old, and there was 91%, Caucasian, 6% African American, 2% Asian American. Majority of them were unmarried, so that's at 94%, and then the other 6% were married. Materials and procedures. So they used two measurement tools. They used the measurement tool of surveys, and they used two different surveys to measure in this study. The first one was the attachment style. They use the relationship skills questionnaire to do the attachment style, and remember that was the secure, and that's to measure the secure, insecure, and close and independent attachment patterns. The participants were told to indicate on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being like not like me and 5 being very much like me, for these lists of 10 questions. So an example questions would be like, how satisfied are you with this relationship? Or like, how likely do you think you would be in this relationship 1 year from now? Things like that. And the other tool that was used was Sternberg's triangular theory of love scale. Now, on this survey, the participants used a scale of 1 to 9, 1 being not at all and 9 being extremely, kind of to indicate the extent of the statements that they were given about intimacy, passion, and commitment. Examples for all three would be, for intimacy, it's like on a scale of 1 to 9, I have a warm relationship. Or for, let's say, passion, on a scale of 1 to 9, I find myself thinking about my significant other frequently during the day. And then the last one, like for commitment, it would be on a scale of 1 to 9, I am committed to maintaining my relationship with my significant other. All right, so moving on to the findings, their hypothesis was actually supported in their findings, and they found that the two dimensions of attachment, secure, insecure, and the close, independent, are actually linked to intimacy, passion, and commitment, just as they thought. What they found was that the effects of secure, insecure attachment on relationship satisfaction are mediated by intimacy and commitment, and not so much passion, but so basically a more secure attachment to intimacy and commitment produces greater relationship satisfaction. And they also found, that close, independent attachment dimension is correlated with all three components: intimacy, passion, and commitment, as predicted. However, the only thing is that the correlation with the relationship satisfaction didn't reach the conventional levels of statistical like significance. So they found a correlation, but it wasn't enough to actually prove like basically like causation. These are all the references that I use in APA format. I really hope all of you enjoyed my presentation. I hope I helped advance your understanding of the Sternberg's triangular theory of love. I really enjoyed researching about this topic. So yeah, I hope you guys like it. So enjoy the rest of your week and have a great night.